Everyone is hiring right now. Seriously, everywhere I go, there is a now hiring sign. Retail stores, fast food chains, literally any entry-level position that you can think of is in high demand right now. Some chains are trying to incentivize new hires to apply by offering cash to just come in for an interview. Some are offering mental health care, 401k benefits, and debt-free college. Applebee's took a more interesting route by offering people a free appetizer just for filling out a job application. Because who needs a 401k when you can have mozzarella sticks, right? So if there are so many jobs available, specifically 10 million as of early August, why are so many people still unemployed? Well, make sure you stay tuned because that is exactly what we are going to be covering in this week's video. Alright, well, hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today for another video. My name is Arena. If you're new here, I'm a real estate agent in Oregon, and on my channel we talk about the latest developments in the housing market, in the workforce, and the economy at large, and why all of that information matters to you. I also love sharing about my experience as a real estate agent through vlogs, so if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on your bell notification so that we can hang out every single week. So what is this labor shortage crisis that we are experiencing right now? Several videos ago, I talked about something called the Great Resignation. This is a term that was coined to describe the millions of people that have chosen to quit their jobs in the spring. They have chosen to quit for a variety of different reasons. Some people are starting their own businesses. Some people are looking for a position that is a lot more flexible, offers them an opportunity to work from home. There are so many different reasons, but really the bottom line is that people are quitting. They have been quitting for a large part of this year. And that has led to this great labor shortage crisis. When I tell you that there are for hire signs absolutely everywhere for any entry-level position I can think of, I am not exaggerating. The last time I went to the mall, almost every single store when I would walk in, by their entryway they had a big sign that not only stated that they were hiring, but they also stated exactly which positions they were hiring for and how much they were willing to pay new hires. And the most common number I was seeing was $15 an hour, which if I'm not mistaken is above the minimum wage in the Portland metro area, although I could be mistaken on that. But there were some positions that were even being offered for $17 an hour. And for me, when I was working for minimum wage in 2017 and 2018, I was making, first I was making $11.75 an hour, and then they raised it to $12 an hour. But in many cases, even offering more money, like between $15 and $17 an hour, isn't enough to incentivize people to come and work for these employers. When my friends and I were in Clearwater, Florida this past May, we noticed that all of the Starbucks locations in the area were closing very early in the day, like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And we decided to ask them why. We were just curious, and they had told us it was because they just didn't have enough baristas. They were so short-staffed that they had to cut their day incredibly short. Employers are trying to stay competitive, like I said, by offering more money, by trying to incentivize people to come in for interviews with cash, with food, with a whole lot of other things. It's been very interesting to witness. They've been offering more benefits. Like I said, Chipotle, I believe, is offering mental health care, 401k benefits, debt-free college, I believe, as well. So employers are really trying to stay competitive and trying to offer more to try and incentivize people to come in. But for the large part, I don't really think it's working that well. So why are so many employers hiring right now anyway? Why are they experiencing this issue with being short-staffed? So really, I think the main issue is that a lot of employers were laying people off in the beginning of the pandemic. Demand had decreased significantly. Most people were staying home. They weren't shopping and spending money like they were before. And so employers had to lay off a lot of people during that time. So now, we're witnessing this post-pandemic demand. People are going out and they're shopping a lot more. They're going to the mall, they're going to the movies, to concerts, games, all of that fun stuff. There has been so much pent-up demand over the course of 2020 and early 2021 that now when people are actually getting that opportunity to get out and have some fun, they're taking it. They're spending more money. And so employers are finding that they are way too short-staffed to meet this post-pandemic demand. Employers are actually saying that there are not enough applicants for the positions that they are hiring for. And even if there are applicants, these people aren't necessarily meeting that skill set that they're looking for. Now, is this labor shortage crisis going to come to an end, especially considering the fact that federal unemployment benefits did end on September 4th, so not too long ago, and most states, mostly Republican-led states, are not planning on providing any additional benefits past that federal unemployment deadline. Really, the point that I'm trying to make here is the labor shortage crisis going to be alleviated? Is it going to get better because the unemployment benefits have just ended? I mean, it's been a few weeks after the federal unemployment deadline, which again was September 4th, and I'm still seeing all of these hiring signs absolutely everywhere. So it hasn't helped just yet, which is very interesting to me. But let me know in the comments down below if you think that this ending of the federal unemployment benefits is going to help people get back into the workforce. What do you think? I would really love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. So moving on, why is unemployment so high when everyone is hiring? An article from The Skim answers this question in a really great way. So they say, employees have been rethinking their expectations for pay, flexibility, and meaningful work. After more than a year of quarantine-induced introspection, many would rather take a break than settle for less. Hey, great resignation, which we talked about again a few videos ago. So here's the main issue. While on paper you might be looking at these numbers, you know, we have, I think, about 10 million available jobs and around 8 million people unemployed. And you're thinking, well, this seems to kind of match up. Like, there's jobs available, just go get a job, right? But what we are experiencing right now is a very large mismatch between the positions that are available and the people unemployed. So it kind of goes both ways. Either the issue is that the candidate, the person that is applying for a job, doesn't meet the skill set that the employer is looking for, or the employer isn't offering competitive enough pay, benefits, flexibility. Maybe they don't have a work from home option. So the employer doesn't have the incentives, the benefits that the employee is looking for. So in both scenarios, there's just a mismatch. Either the employer is not a right fit for the employee, or the employee is not a right fit for the employer. So even though just looking at the numbers alone, you think, well, there seems to be enough jobs available for all the people unemployed, there's a mismatch in skill set and a mismatch in benefits and incentives. So just put simply, all of these millions of jobs that are available are just jobs that most people don't want. They don't want to work these service, entry-level service type of jobs. They want to have more flexible hours, more competitive pay. And in most cases, they want to continue staying home. And so, like I said, even though there are a ton of jobs available, these aren't the jobs that people are necessarily wanting to apply for. An article by Vox summarizes what I just said in a really great way as well. They say, a lot of what people are seeing are low-paying jobs with unpredictable or not worker-friendly scheduling practices that don't come with benefits and don't come with long-term stability, and those are not the types of jobs that any worker is eager to take on. So we have that issue. The primary issue is this mismatch with employers and employees just not being able to mesh together and just not being a good fit for each other. But another issue that we are seeing is just really inefficient hiring practices. This mismatch between employer and employee is really exacerbated and made much worse by really sucky hiring technology. So think Indeed, Monster.com, all of these different hiring platforms. What they do is oftentimes they weed out good potential candidates because they weren't able to find some random keywords in their resumes. So it's just, there could be good potential candidates, good potential employees for this employer that's hiring, but this hiring software is not finding these people, or if they are finding these people, they're weeding them out for reasons that are completely unrelated to this person's actual skill set and job performance. Again, I'm going to take a quick excerpt from this Vox article because they just explain it so well. So they say, we think that we made it easier 20-something years ago when Monster started posting jobs. It makes it easier for the employer, though. It doesn't make it easier for the job seeker. So you're not getting rejected, you're just never getting past the technology. And sometimes what the software is scanning for doesn't even make sense. So as an example, it'll look for registered nurses who also know computer programming when really all they need is data entry. They also point out that applicants think they're talking to another human being when they write a description of their experiences, but if they start explaining something at length or describe it in the way that they imagined and it doesn't fit with what the system is looking for, you have a possibility for a disconnect literally just because of a word choice. So it's just so completely arbitrary. If you word your cover letter or your resume in a way that the system doesn't really recognize as helpful or useful, they will weed you out before you can even get to a real human being. They end off by saying, the endless quest to make hiring efficient has rendered it inefficient. Candidates who are great fits for 90% of the job are screened out because they're not perfect for the other 10%. Recruiters are so just flooded with resumes flowing in online that they only look at the first few, hiring the people that can get the fastest, instead of the people who are the best fit. So I think this whole pandemic business has made people realize that there is no such thing as a stable job. When times got tough last year, employers were letting go of people left and right. And so I think that really made a lot of folks challenge the notion of what a stable job is, because they realized as soon as something happened, like the pandemic, like in 2008 when the Great Recession happened, as soon as something like that happens, your employer is letting you go. So that job is no longer stable. You have now lost your main source of income. So I think this past year and a half, people have really been, again, challenging that concept of a stable job and thinking, hey, if there is really no true stability in working for an employer, I might as well just go out and try and build a business myself, work for myself, find other sources of income, because working, really the idea of just working for an employer, working for a corporation and thinking that you're going to be safe your whole life. I mean, you might be, but there might be a global pandemic and then you're being let go. So yeah, people are they're not really trusting in the fact that their employers have their backs as much as maybe they did in years prior. Post-pandemic, people are really thinking about how they were disposable in many cases in 2020. And I'm not saying this is the case for every job and every position. Of course, every single situation is so unique, but a lot of people have really been realizing that I'm disposable. When something happens, I'm just thrown out the window. When difficult times come, my employer isn't going to just do everything that they can to keep me on board. That company loyalty, it wasn't there when tough times arrived. So now people are like, why should I be loyal now? Why should I go back to that employer now? Why should I go back to the same type of job that I was working before, only to, be in fear of getting let go in the future when something similar to a pandemic happens again? And I realize that this is a huge umbrella statement to say that no job is truly stable, but really, I mean, in most cases, it's not, because the employer is looking out for themselves. They're looking out for their business, their corporation, and if that means letting you go, that's what they're going to do. Even if you were loyal, even if you were the most incredible, amazing employee ever, they can still let you go if they're struggling. And so for a lot of people, this has served as a catalyst and like a cue to go out on their own and really try and build something for themselves. They've realized that they cannot depend on anyone else. They can only depend on themselves. And so they're really just trying their hand at stepping out on their own. And like I said in my Great Resignation video, a lot of the people that I'm seeing I quit videos from are people that are quitting to pursue entrepreneurship, specifically to pursue social media, YouTube. I covered all of this in that video. So I think that that is the reason why they have realized that loyalty is a fairy tale concept, that stability is also a fairy tale concept in most cases. And so they think if both scenarios are not stable, are not ever truly stable, might as well just go work for myself. I would love to hear what you guys think about this whole thing in the comments down below, about this mismatch between employers and employees. Do you think that that's going to level out? Do you think that the labor shortage crisis is going to end towards the end of the year? Are people going to actually start taking these positions? Or are all of these companies just going to be incredibly short-staffed moving forward? I would love to hear your thoughts on this whole topic in the comments down below. All right, well, that about wraps up what I wanted to talk about today. I'm really looking forward to talking to you guys more in the comments down below. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @ArenaD. I would love to see you guys on there as well and kind of get to know you a little bit more. You guys also know, or if you don't know, if you're new here, I'm a real estate agent in Oregon. So if you are looking to buy or sell in the state of Oregon, all of my contact information is in the description box down below. Please feel free to reach out to me, send me an email. I would love to work with you and help you achieve your home goals. All right, you guys, again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you next week with a brand new video. Bye.